Xbox was once a great company that delivered us a lot of gems, but over the past two console generations, that greatness seemed to fade away. This downfall started with the Xbox One, and while the console did have some good exclusives, Xbox was more focused on making the Xbone an all-around entertainment system rather than an actual gaming console. Since then, it's just been a downward slope for this gaming company. By making choices that brought their games to more systems and making Game Pass their main priority, they have all but doomed their consoles. But recent rumors that suggest that Xbox will be bringing their exclusives to PlayStation systems has all but sealed their fate in the console war. In today's video, we will be talking about the doom of Xbox and more. The console war is a very funny thing. We have fanboys on each side of the spectrum arguing about which system is the best. Oftentimes, this means comparing what console has the best games. Now, the normal person would know that both consoles had some great exclusives. For Xbox, we had games like Fable, Gears of War, Saints Row, Dead Rising. For PlayStation, there was Uncharted, Infamous, The Last of Us, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, just to name a few exclusives on both sides. But fanboys tend to ignore the great exclusives that the other console has and just focuses on what makes their system better than the other. This has been going on since forever. Back in the day, we had Sega versus Nintendo, and now it's PlayStation versus Xbox. But like Sega, Xbox might be pulling a move that effectively ends the console war with them emerging as the loser. Back in 2001, Sega had announced they would be pulling out of the console war and instead focus on becoming a third-party publisher, which we all know is exactly what had happened. This lost them the little war they were having with Nintendo and essentially painted them the loser of this conflict. And Xbox has just made this same move, or at least it is rumored that this is what they are doing. On February 4th, The Verge put out an article where they claim one of their sources inside of Microsoft had told them that the company is deciding which games will remain exclusives and what ones will become multi-platform, with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle being one of their multi-platform games that will be available on the PlayStation 5. Because of this, people are speculating that Xbox plans on pulling out of the console war, which really doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, when was the last time that they actually had an exclusive? The answer for that is a very long time ago. Nowadays, most Xbox games get ported over to PC, whether that is through their Game Pass option or just them listing it on Steam. By doing this, they effectively ended true Xbox exclusive games. So them ending exclusivity altogether by making their games available on the PlayStation wouldn't exactly be a shocker. But what exactly does this mean for the future of the company? Are they going to stop developing consoles, just focus on Game Pass and being a third-party developer? Well, I can't see them stop making Xboxes just yet. I do think we will probably get at least one more console out of them. After all, leaks do point to the next console generations on both the Xbox side and PlayStation side being digital only, but I do see them shifting all their attention in the near future to Game Pass. And what I'm about to say next is sure to stir up some of those nasty old fanboys. What a lot of Xbox fanboys do not want to admit is that even the exclusives that are on Game Pass, which is almost everything from the last console generation and up, aren't really exclusives, considering those of us with a PC can play them on our computers with an Ultimate Game Pass subscription. Along with this, a lot of the exclusives are also available to buy on Steam. A lot of Xbots, as some people like to call them, like to think that Xbox still actually has exclusives. An example of this is Palworld. Xbox fanboys are praising this game, saying that this is why Xbox is so clearly better than PlayStation, without realizing or just completely ignoring the fact that the majority of the players and sales of this game is coming from PC players. The plain fact is that Xbox hasn't had any real exclusives since the 360 era. A lot of the Xbox One exclusives that we saw are now available to buy on Steam or through Xbox Game Pass. And I just want to make this clear right now so there's nobody that can misinterpret what I am talking about. I am not talking about the ability to stream a game to your PC. That is something completely else. But what I'm talking about are games that are actually ported over to PC and is available to buy on Steam. This is why I say that Xbox hasn't had any real exclusives since the 360 era. Despite me bitching about Xbox not really having any exclusives, them making their games available on the PlayStation isn't exactly a good thing. In fact, it is a very bad one that is just going to screw us gamers over in the long run. There's an old saying that goes something like this: competition is healthy. And it's true, especially when it comes to the video game industry. Because of Xbox and PlayStation trying to outdo each other, they come up with brand new innovative things, whether that is consoles or video games. Xbox dipping out of this console war and making their exclusives available on both systems is getting rid of that competition. PlayStation won't have to worry about doing anything new or developing new consoles, because who are they competing against if Xbox is no longer there? Nintendo? I mean, Nintendo is a good company with its own line of true exclusives, but let's be real here. Most people do not see Nintendo as a part of this console war. They are doing their own thing with their own line of IPs, which is perfectly fine. It is something they've been doing since forever. Xbox is handing PlayStation all the power, which is not a good thing. Xbox fanboys will try to spin Xbox and an exclusivity as something good, but it is anything but. Without competition, PlayStation can do whatever they want because they know people will not have any other option when it comes to gaming. If Xbox ends exclusivity but keeps on making consoles, do you think people are going to still buy Xbox consoles when they could buy a PlayStation and have access to not only PlayStation games but also Xbox games? The answer is no. I mean, why would they? And because of this, Xbox would eventually stop making consoles because there would be no profit for them anymore. A good example of this line of thinking comes from my own experiences. 2 years ago, I was debating on whether building my first PC or just buying an Xbox Series X. While thinking about the pros and cons, something dawned on me, and it's that most Xbox exclusives were available on Game Pass, which I could get on my PC. So why would I buy an Xbox just for the exclusives when I could get a PC, get those exclusives, plus a ton of other games not available on consoles? The smarter option for me was to build my own PC. And hey, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here making this video right now. Another problem with Xbox giving this power to PlayStation and Sony is that PlayStation and Sony are a bunch of scumbags, to put it lightly. Back in December, PlayStation was going to revoke access to content that people already paid for, but after a big backlash, they went back on this decision. But they just announced they are doing the exact same thing again. Sony owns an anime streaming platform called Crunchyroll, and recently they had bought out a competitor by the name of Funimation and decided to close that service down. From what I understand, Funimation gave you the option to buy digital anime shows, and Sony had announced that when they closed down Funimation, that people who bought these shows are just going to be shit out of luck, because they will not be transferring these licenses over to Crunchyroll, which really highlights the dangers of digital media. I'm not going to go into a rant about this again, as I already have a few videos talking about how digital media doesn't actually offer true ownership, which you can find in the playlist linked at the end of this video. Along with Sony reminding us that we never truly own digital products, they also have a plan to increase the price of their first-party games. In December, information was leaked out about PlayStation, and a bit of this information highlighted the fact that PlayStation was planning on charging $150 for Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 would be divided into 3 parts and sold for $50 USD each. The only possible thing that could have stopped PlayStation from doing this is its competitors, because if they price their games for a ludicrous amount of money, like $150 is, people would start gravitating towards the cheaper system. But PlayStation no longer has that competition. There is no one to keep them in check. There's a reason why I've said in my other videos that the video game industry is entering a very scary era. We are seeing physical games being swept away for digital games that offer you no true ownership and that companies can revoke at will. We are seeing games going to be priced at $150 USD, which is just bonkers. And now we might be seeing Xbox taking a step back from the console market to focus on just making games and handing PlayStation a monopoly on the video game industry. I've always been a fan of PlayStation as much as I am a fan of Xbox, but handing a company like Sony all this power is a horrible thing. And if you are a PlayStation fanboy that thinks this is great because you won the console war, you're an idiot. PlayStation has zero problems with robbing their customers by revoking access to their digital content. They think it is okay to charge $150 for a game, and overall, they just have some very scummy business practices. And them having a monopoly on the gaming industry is pretty much them getting the golden goddamn ticket. It is important to remember that as of now, these are just rumors. Xbox is going to be holding an official event sometime this week to talk about this, but I do believe that the rumors are actually true, and it's going to screw us gamers over in the long run. As much as we get tired of hearing about the console wars, the good thing about them was that they inspired healthy competition and kept both PlayStation and Xbox in check. And now, with Xbox giving up, PlayStation is going to be like a fat kid in the candy store, and that candy store is going to be the wallet of us gamers. If you've made it to the end of this video, hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and let me know whether or not you think if this is a good move. I hope all of you have an amazing and wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.